and welcome to the latest What Does the Giraffe Say? With me, Kathleen Matorne. We're an organisation that aims to connect people with conservation by holding live interviews around the world. Today, I'm very happy because I am joined by Moreangels Mbizah, and she is the founder for Wildlife Conservation Action. So without further ado, Moreangels, I'm going to hand over to you. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself and why you started the organisation.
Okay, thank you. So I was born in Zimbabwe and I grew up in Chiredzi. So it's a small town in the Low Veld in Zimbabwe. I'm the firstborn, so lots of pressure. Yeah, and then so when I was growing up, I had a passion to help people, and I wanted to be a psychologist when I was grown. So that was the career that I wanted to take. But along the way, I ended up studying wildlife ecology, and that's how my conservation career began. And the first species that I studied was the African wild dog, and I immediately fell in love with nature when I visited South Valley Conservancy, and I decided that this was the path that I was going to take. And so along the way, I met some wonderful people that mentored me and encouraged me. And I also got an opportunity to study at the University of Oxford in the UK. And when I returned, that's when I started my organization, when I returned back home in Zimbabwe. So my organization is called Wildlife Conservation Action. And the reason why I started this organization is because I wanted conservation to be in local hands. I wanted conservation to be led by the local people, and that's what our organization is. It's founded by people that are in Zimbabwe. Our team is Zimbabweans, and we are working with our local communities here in Zimbabwe. And one of our mission is to build the capacity of the local communities that are living alongside wildlife, so that they are able to protect and coexist with wildlife, and also improve their livelihoods. So I think over the past few years, we are now trying to get the communities to be more involved in wildlife conservation than was the case maybe 10 years ago. So that's what we are passionate about, involving our local communities in conservation and having them at the forefront of conservation efforts.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that really stood out for me when I was researching your organization. I mean, there's several different projects that go within it, but ultimately your ethos is all about community engagement, development and empowerment. What is the situation at the moment in Zimbabwe with that? And kind of following from that, what challenges are you facing when you're trying to implement these, and how do you address these?
Yes, yeah. So the communities we work with, and most communities in Zimbabwe, they live alongside wildlife. So they live around protected areas, national parks or safari areas. So because they live close to wildlife, there's lots of interaction between humans and wildlife, and because of that, you end up having a conflict between humans and wildlife. And I think in 2020, about 60 people were killed by wildlife in Zimbabwe. So this is one of the challenges we are facing, where we see lots of conflict between humans and wildlife in these areas. We have people that get killed, that get injured by wildlife. Their livestock gets killed by wildlife, and their crops get damaged as well. And because these communities depend on agriculture, they depend on crop farming, they depend on livestock rearing. So once they lose that, it affects their income, it affects their livelihoods. So one of the activities that we are doing is trying to bring human wildlife coexistence in these communities. So the work we are focusing on now is finding innovative ways to mitigate the conflict that these communities are facing from living alongside wildlife. And I think one of the things that I should highlight is that these communities, although they are facing these challenges from living with wildlife, they still want wildlife to be there in their communities. They know the importance of wildlife. They also know that they can benefit from protecting wildlife. So it makes our work easy because these people are really passionate about having wildlife in their lands.
So what sort of products do you have then with that, with the way to stop the human-wildlife conflict? What sort of measures do you have in place?
Yes, so we have several measures, and at the moment we just started a project on human carnivore conflict, mainly focusing on lion conflict. So we are working with a community in Nyami Nyami district, which is around Matsadona National Park. So with these communities, we just recruited 10 community gardens, or what some people may refer to as lion gardens. So these are community members. They come from the community, they grew up in that area, they know most people that are living in that area, they know the habitat, and they are passionate about their wildlife. So these community gardens are there to assist the community to do better in terms of their livestock herding. They assist the community to protect their livestock from lions. So we help the community build what we call mobile livestock bombers, which are predator proof. So it means a lion won't get inside the livestock bomber. So it protects their livestock from predation by lions and other large carnivores. So it's one of the ways that we are protecting livestock from being killed by lions and other large carnivores. So these community gardens are active in the communities every day. They go out, they look for spores of lions or other large carnivores so that they can warn the community to say there is a lion that is around your area. Keep your livestock in the bombers, keep your livestock away from the wildlife area. So these are some of the ways that we are doing to minimize the loss of livestock. And we also have collaring for coexistence. So we have lions that have GPS collars, that have a geofencing mechanism. So this works in a way where if the lion crosses a certain area, that is when it comes close to the community, we get a warning to say this lion is coming close to the community. So the community will be warned of the presence of that lion, and our community guardians would also help push that lion back into the protected area so that it doesn't end up killing livestock. And we are also doing camera trapping. So we have camera traps around the wildlife area. So this will also give us an idea of the movement of lions and other large carnivores which might kill the livestock. We also get an idea of the movement of elephants, which can also damage crops. So we are using all these methods to minimize the conflict, to reduce the effects of lions on the community, so that we have we will reduce the retaliatory killing of lions by the community, and at the end we protect our lions, and we also protect our communities and improve their livelihoods.
I absolutely love that. I mean, we're focused quite a lot there on people that are living in areas where there is wildlife, but I know from, again, looking into some of your past stuff, that you've spoken about how the fact you were in your early 20s when you first saw like a wild animal. How do you connect communities that might not have access to going into seeing wildlife in their natural spaces, and how important is that for conservation?
Yeah, I think it's very important. It plays a huge part. So for me, like when I look back, I always wish I had an opportunity to go see wildlife when I was younger. So I started to see wildlife when I was studying the African wild dogs during my master's program. So I always wish I had gone and seen wildlife when I was younger. But what we are doing now, as an organization, is we have just started a campaign, a social media campaign, because now we know the like social media can be really a powerful tool that you can use to disseminate information, to engage the public. So we are using social media. We have what we call Animal Crash Monday. So every Monday we talk about a certain animal, like a lion. We tell people about lions, how they live, their ecology, their behavior. And then on a Thursday we have amazing facts. So we talk about the amazing facts of lions on that Thursday. And then we also have Tuesdays and Wednesday where we feature our projects. So the project in Nyami Nyami, and also our other research project in Shangani Range. So we feature those projects on our social media so that people can see our work. They can also interact with us and engage. And so it's one of the things that we have already started to see the results. We get feedback from people. We get people coming to our inboxes to say they are interested in volunteering. They are interested to know more. So yeah, it's an exciting time for us. But we are also we are also developing programs because we are really passionate about the future of conservation in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and the world. So we are working on a program that will be soon launching across Zimbabwe with the schools. So we are creating a conservation clubs in schools. So we are busy right now developing that program so that we can launch it across our primary, secondary schools in Zimbabwe, so that the children can start to learn about wildlife while they are very young. We know children can be very enthusiastic and can catch up really quick. So we need to start teaching them about conservation while they are still young. So this program, we are really excited about it, and we are ready to launch it across our schools. And we are also working on another program where we want to take school kids to national parks and also the community, because I think that connection with nature, with wildlife, once you get into the national park and you see the wildlife, you feel the nature around you. I think it can make a huge difference in how people perceive nature, how people see wildlife and connect with wildlife. So I think having that program can improve the connection that our communities and our people in Zimbabwe have with nature and with wildlife. So we are really excited about that as well, and we are looking for partners to launch that program across the country so that we get every child an opportunity to go and see wildlife in the national park. We get the communities that are living with wildlife to see their wildlife in a protected area, because most of these people, the only interaction that they have with wildlife is through conflict. So the only time that they see an elephant is when it comes to raid their crops. The only time that they see a lion is when it kills their livestock. So we want to change that. We want the communities to be able to go into a national park and see wildlife in its natural environment and enjoy it, because it's their heritage.
Absolutely, and I love it. I can see you're so clearly passionate about it as you're talking. Sorry, the power's just gone here. Hopefully it will come back on. I'm on a generator. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So talking about the communities and things like that, you've actually done a TED talk where you focused on Cecil the lion, who was a lion that you had been looking after, or not looking after, monitoring. Can you talk to us a little bit about this and what your theory was on what could have been done better here?
Yes. So yeah, I think talking at the TED stage was a huge opportunity for me, and it really opened up many doors. And I think it inspires many people. I continue to receive like messages and emails from people across the world saying that they have watched my talk, they are inspired, and I receive emails from people saying they are showing the talk to their class, like the class that they teach. So I think yeah, it's inspired many people across the world. And my main message was that we need to involve the communities in our conservation efforts, because we have seen that a lot of the times the community doesn't even know what's happening in terms of conservation in the area that they are living in. But we have conservation organizations that are doing research, that are doing community work, but the community is not involved. So there is that disconnect. But if we involve the communities in our projects, in decision making, in leading these projects, so it's not just about the involvement, but also about decision making and about taking leadership roles. So we want to see a situation where we have conservation organizations that are working in the country, and they have their leadership who are people who are local people that are living in that country, that come from that country, that have a lot to lose from losing biodiversity, and that have a lot to gain from protecting biodiversity. So that was my message in the TED Talk, that we need to shift and move towards involving our communities, involving our local conservationists in all our conservation efforts, and giving them a voice and giving them the power to make the decisions and to lead. And I think in that way, we can start to see a change and start to see some positive outcomes from our conservation efforts.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I recommend anyone back home watching to actually check out the TED Talk. It is on YouTube, and you'll be able to find it on there. It's super interesting. I really enjoyed it. And within that, when you were talking, you were saying as well that, you know, within conservation, there is a lot of stereotypes that still does exist. And some people say that they're surprised to see a black female working in conservation. And you spoke a lot about some of the challenges that you've had to face with this. And for those who are watching you, who are looking at you as an inspiration or want to follow in your footsteps, what sort of advice would you give them, and what kind of challenges have you overcome?
Yeah, I think I would say hard work pays. So I think in anything that you do in life, whether it's career, whether it's business, or whatever you want to follow, whatever your dreams are, if you work hard, you will achieve that. Yeah, so you have to work hard, you have to be determined, and sometimes you face challenges. In my career, I've faced many challenges. During my PhD, I had personal challenges. I had relationship challenges during my PhD, and at one point, I thought of like giving up the PhD so that I could focus on my relationship. And so those are some of the challenges that you can come across in your career or in anything that you want to achieve. But you have to be determined and stay focused on what you want to achieve, and stay focused on the bigger picture, because sometimes it's not about you, it's about the vision that you have, it's about your purpose in life. So sometimes you have to stay focused on that. And I think for most women that are in conservation, or even women scientists, because there are very few of us, sometimes it can be lonely, it can be a lonely path, but always try to find somebody to mentor you, somebody who you can confide in, who can encourage you when you feel low. And I think especially in conservation, sometimes you can get really depressed and low, and feel like you are just fighting a losing battle. But if you have some people that can keep encouraging you and be there for you, that would really help. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I think the support is such a vital thing to play, especially as at times you're going to be in remote areas and all those kind of things. So I'm guessing that technology nowadays has actually allowed people to connect in all different places in the world and share their experiences.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So we spoke about it before we were going live, and you can't talk about anything at the minute without touching on it. But obviously, COVID has happened. It's impacting organisations all around the world, particularly those that are reliant on funding and those kind of things. What sort of challenges have you been facing here? Has it had an impact? Has it changed the way you kind of do any of your work? And then finally on that, if someone wants to support you back home, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I think COVID has affected most people across the world. And yeah, it affected conservation as well, and in a huge way. Because most of the conservation work that we do is we rely on donor funding. So because of the COVID situation, most of these donors, they usually donate their profits to conservation organizations, and they also have like other responsibilities. And also some of our donors, they also get donations from individuals. So because everyone was trying to make ends meet during this period, the donations were also very low. So this also impacted us. So because of the COVID situation, the funding towards conservation started to decrease, and this impacts the work that we do because we rely on the donor funding. There was a lockdown in Zimbabwe for a few months, and that also affected our work. So we couldn't go to the field, and we had to wait until the lockdown was over for us to continue working with our projects. And this also affected like our work with the communities, because there is also an expectation from the community. So when you stop or pause, it also affects them. So yeah, that has been a challenge. And I think for the next few years or so, funding will continue to be a challenge. And yeah, if we can get support in terms of funding, whether it's money or whether it's materials, like now we are in need of some vehicles for some of our programs, like the visits to national parks. So we need a vehicle or a small minibus for that. So if you can either help with money, or they can help with other materials, or even books for our conservation clubs, or anything that you think can help our work.
Excellent. And I'll bring up the website again in a minute so people can see it back home, and they can go there, and there's lots of information there that you can see on all the different projects and the work that you guys are doing. Okay, so I've only got one more question left. But if you're watching back home and you would like to put a question towards Moreangels, then please just pop it into the comments section and I will put it to her. But from me, I always like to try and end things on a bit of a positive note. What would you say has been your favourite success story so far, and why?
Okay, I think like some of the, like one person that really inspires me is my fellow countryman, Strive Masiwa. So I think his story like inspires many people in Zimbabwe and across the world. And I think he started with very little money. He started with $75 when he started his first company, and soon after a few years, he was already successful. Then he moved to telecommunications, and now he has Econet Wireless, which is one of the biggest telecommunications in Zimbabwe and across Africa. So I think that story really inspired me, and he continues to break barriers. He continues to be listed on like some of the top lists on Forbes, on Times, and he has achieved a lot. And he also gives back. So he's a philanthropist, he's a humanitarian, and I think that really inspires me. He has worked really hard. He has also faced lots of challenges along the way, but he kept working hard, and now he's contributing and giving back to society.
I love that as well. It just goes to show, doesn't it, that determination and hard work can really get you some places.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've had some lovely comments coming through as we've been talking. Lots of people supporting the work that you're doing. Lots of people tuning in from all different places as well, which is always wonderful to see. So we're going to wrap up now. But if you're watching this and it's not live, you're watching this a bit later, then please do pop a question in the comments and we'll be happy to respond to that for you. And again, please remember to like, share, and spread the words of these stories. By having this presence on social media, it allows people to get their voice to a lot more people, and that can help make the difference in conservation. So Maureen, just before I go, is there anything that you'd like to end with?
And no, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to sit and chat with you. And I think it's a great platform because sometimes we get very few opportunities to tell our stories, to let the world know of the work that we are doing back home. So it's a great opportunity to sit and chat to you and let people know about what local communities, what local conservationists can do and achieve for conservation.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, so thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you for all your comments and kind words. It's really appreciated. As we say, conservation can be quite a tough industry, and it's so nice to feel that support, and it gives us the push to keep moving forward. And again, please do like, comment and share. Head over to What Does the Giraffe Say Media on Facebook if you haven't done so already, and come follow our page where we've had lots of interviews with different people, and we've got many more exciting ones to come. But from now on, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.